an editorial in The Guardian, and it's everybody loves Bernie Sanders except, it seems, the Democratic Party. A new poll found that he is the most popular politician in America, but instead of embracing his message, establishment Democrats continue to resist him. If you look at the numbers, Bernie Sanders is the most popular politician, and it's not even close. Yet, bizarrely, the Democratic Party, out of power across the country and increasingly irrelevant, still refuses to embrace him and his message. It's increasingly clear they do so at their own peril. A new Fox News poll out this week shows Sanders has a plus 28 net favorability rating among the U.S. population, dwarfing all other elected politicians on both ends of the political spectrum. And he's even more popular among independents, where he is a mind-boggling plus 41. The poll is not just an aberration. Look at this Huffington Post chart that has tracked Sanders' favorability over time, ever since he gained national prominence in 2015 when he started running for the Democratic nomination. The more people got to know him, the more they liked him. The exact opposite of what his critics said would happen when he was running against Clinton. One would think with numbers like this that the Democratic politicians would be falling all over themselves to be associated with Sanders, especially considering the party as a whole is more unpopular than the Republicans and even Donald Trump right now. Yet instead of embracing his message, the establishment wing of the party continues to resist him at almost every turn, and they seem insistent that they don't have to change their ways to gain back the support of huge swaths of the country. Politico ran a story just this week featuring Democratic officials fretting over the fact that Sanders supporters may upend their efforts to retake governorships in southern states by insisting those candidates adopt Sanders' populist policies, seeming oblivious to the fact that Sanders plays well in some of those states too. Sanders' effect on Trump voters can be seen in the gripping town hall this week that MSNBC's Chris Hayes hosted with him in West Virginia, often referred to Trump country, where the crowd ended up giving him a rousing ovation after he talked about healthcare being a right of all people, and that we are the only industrialized nation in the world who doesn't provide healthcare as a right to all its people. But hand-wringing by the Democratic officials over the 2018 candidates is really just the latest example. The establishment wing of the party aggressively ran another opponent against Keith Ellison, Sanders' choice to run the Democratic National Committee, seemingly with the primary motivation to keep the party away from Sanders' influence. They've steadfastly refused to take giant corporations head-on in the public sphere and wouldn't even return to an Obama-era rule that banned lobbyist money from funding the DNC that was rescinded last year. And despite the broad popularity of government guaranteeing health care for everyone, they still have not made any push for a Medicare for All plan that Sanders has long called as a rebuttal to Republicans' attempt to dismantle Obamacare. Democrats seem more than happy to put the blame of the 2016 election on a combination of Russia and James Comey, and have engaged in almost zero introspection on the root causes of the larger reality. They are also out of power in not the presidency, but both houses of Congress, governorships, and state houses across the country as well. As Politico reported on the Democrats' post-Trump strategy in February, Democratic aides say they will eventually shift to a positive economic message that Rust Belt Democrats can run on. However, for now, aides say the focus is on slaying the giant and proving to the voters who sent Trump into the White House why his policies will fail. In other words, they're doubling down on the exact same failing strategy that Clinton used in the final months of her campaign. Sanders himself put it this way in his usual blunt style in an interview with New York Magazine this week. When asked about whether the Democrats can adapt to the new political reality, he said, "There are some people in the Democratic Party who want to maintain the status quo. They would rather go down with the Titanic as long as they have first-class seats." In the long term, change may be coming for Democrats whether they like it or not. Sanders' loyalists are quietly attempting to take over many local Democratic Party positions around the country. While Ellison lost the race for DNC chair, it was incredibly close closer than Sanders came to beating Clinton. And Sanders supporters are already organizing primary challenges to incumbent Democrats who aren't sufficiently opposing Trump. One thing's for sure, Democrats who refuse to change do so at their own peril. And that's it.
What do you think, Laila?
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.